We are kicking the show off with a real treat today. South African singer, songwriter, and guitarist Jonathan Butler is hugely popular as a performer, known for his blend of jazz, soul, and R&B. Butler just wrapped up his weekend of shows at Dimitriou's Jazz Alley in Seattle, and of course, you know we couldn't let him leave town without a visit to New Day. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Butler.
We have found our way here against our will, in this room so cold and bare, where no face is unknown and no earth lies unroamed, and no heart is untouched by despair. Now we have come from miles around, whether by air or by ground, where the rich and where the poor. Well, the sayers, they all say, by the dimming of the day, there'll be at least about 1 million more. Send help right away. I'm telling you, something's gone wrong. I'm like a prisoner in my home. Help is on the way, they say, but even the experts can say how long. Well, I do know for sure is that I don't know just how this part of the story will end. In the end, all I can say is love will lead the way, and this is where love comes in. After all is said and done, only one way ain't but the one. And this is where love comes in. Ooh, love comes in. Love comes in. Love comes in. Oh, love comes in. Hey, after all is said and done, only one way ain't but the one. And this is where love comes in. Where love is the only way we can win. It's the only way we can win.
Yes, woo! That is the truth. Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, I'm 61. I got to warm up this time of the morning.
Oh, you warmed up just fine. That was gorgeous. What a powerful song.
Thank you. Thank you. It was written by, I co-wrote this with Tommy Sims, who wrote Change the World for Eric Clapton.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think Tears in Heaven as well. And it was during COVID, you know, when we've lost so many lives. Yeah. And the song is just a powerful story about so many people that have passed during COVID. And under lockdown, we managed to, you know, get together and write the song.
You know, it was clear what it was about.
Yes.
And I think that that story that you took us on, that it really is emotional. It's evoking, and it's a reminder of that is where love comes in, right?
Yes, yes. And you know, in South Africa, we call it Ubuntu. Ubuntu is we stand together through tough times. It's an ancient African verb that we use. Desmond Tutu taught me that language of Ubuntu. I am because you are.
Yeah.
You know, we stand together. And during COVID, I felt that love from all the musicians. We came together and supported each other, and the world came together. It was nice to kind of, at first it was okay, because it was like, oh, I can walk my dog, I can get my cooking skills back up, and then suddenly now we're on the road again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's hope we remember to stay together. You mentioned you grew up in South Africa.
Yes, I did. Yes.
How old were you when you started performing? I understand you were very young.
I was 6 years old when I started.
6 years old?
I was 6 years old when I started working for my mom and dad, really. I grew up, you know, I'm a child who grew up under apartheid. For some people who don't know, apartheid was a law that segregated blacks and whites and coloreds and Indians, and segregation. And the way the city was structured was, and the way schools, all the institutions were structured that way. Churches, and I was a kid who grew up where I played in places that said whites only. I could play, but I couldn't use the bathrooms. I couldn't, you know, some other nights I'd have to play in townships for blacks. So I grew up in a very difficult time in South Africa as a 6-year-old, when most kids had their parents and their brothers and sisters to watch them. I was working for my parents, singing in nightclubs. So by the time I was 10 years old, I had literally seen some harsh realities, I should say.
That had to have affected your music.
It did. It affected me in many ways. I was exposed to so many harsh things, but music was my salvation. You know, music was my Ubuntu that kept me believing and kept me hoping and kept me positive, because I could play my guitar all the time and I could sing. And whenever I sang, I felt safe.
Yeah.
I felt protected. Yeah.
That is important, and it is powerful to have that music protecting you. Those early experiences, they do shape a person's musical outlook. And what I love about the song that you just sang is it's about hope and giving love to others.
Yes, yes.
Is that one thing that you learned and you took from the way you grew up?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I was a child that I'm going to share it with your viewers. When you're that young, you know, and you don't have the protection of your parents.
Yep.
I was sexually molested, abused, physically abused, and so I worked and working for my parents at that age. It took really Christ to change my heart. And so music also changed my heart in so many ways. And the way I see the world now, I think before that I was kind of very angry as a young man in South Africa. Like, why are we living in a country like this? You know, so but again, that word is so powerful, Ubuntu, because I now see us all. I am because you are.
Yes.
You know, I exist because you are. So yeah.
I'm also a victim of childhood sexual assault, so I appreciate you sharing that with us, because it is time that we talk about this and we bring it out.
Yeah.
You use your music as a vessel for activism, and I really, really like that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's the only way that, you know, we could in South Africa, because, you know, we used to play where censor boards would come to the shows to see if there's any political, to hear if there's any political content in the shows. So our music was a way to kind of use that to speak out. And then as I grew older, I was fortunate to spend time with the late amazing Arch Desmond Tutu and Nelson Mandela, and you know, and I realized that this was my calling, was to bring awareness through music, because it covers. Right. You don't have to be speaking French if you play music. Music will transcend every, like water. It will just pierce every nook and cranny that there are, you know, in the world. So, and I do feel it's important for me to speak on all these things, you know, my abuse and how all of that affected and shaped my life, and how love remains the force that makes me the person I am.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
Before I let you go, two things. I want to hear about your new album, and I also, we're big fans of cooking on this show. I hear you're a big cook. What is your favorite thing to cook?
Well, you know, having traveled throughout the world, especially Africa, India, you know, and Brazil and Indonesia. I love cooking food from all over the world, but my favorite foods will always be the foods that my mother made. So in South Africa, for our Human Rights Day, we barbecue. Yeah. So it's lamb. We love lamb, and we love lamb with rosemary and lemon. So good. And we have a thing called chakalaka.
Chakalaka?
Chakalaka. Okay. Chakalaka, you have to have it on the barbecue. Okay. Because it's like, you know, green peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, carrots, onions, tomato paste, paprika, turmeric.
When you are here next, do you promise you'll cook for us?
I'll cook for you.
I can't wait. Thank you so much. That music was amazing.
Thank you so much.
You.
You're welcome.